for some reason.
Which one? The
Take
religion?
Institute. It's the easiest way to do it. Just take Institute for credit.
I'd like to, but I don't think the school will let me.
Really? Because that's how I'm doing the rest of my religion credits.
Well, I'm an on-campus student, but I mean, if they let that, then I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. All right. So this is lesson 11, and let's get started on prep assignment. Did anybody have any specific questions before we start delving into the prep assignment at all?
I felt the t distribution wasn't that different from z-score. You're just changing up a couple numbers that you're putting in. But
Right. That's slightly different formula, but basically the same.
And we have the new Excel spreadsheet to help us, so that's
Yeah.
always good.
oh, the quantitative statistics one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, did both of you get the email I just sent out?
I haven't checked my email actually.
Okay. Yeah, I sent out the web page I found with all the symbols on it, so we don't get mixed up.
Cool.
Okay, that'll be helpful.
Yeah. Especially if you put them down on your notes so you can use them for your test.
Mhm.
I wrote some down.
Awesome.
All right. So let's just start going through the prep assignment then. So for number 1, the 3 characteristics of the student's t-distribution. I found that the mean is 0. It's symmetrical because it's bell-shaped.
Right.
And then the shape depends on the degrees of freedom.
Which can be 1 to 2 to 3. Where? Trying to pull up.
Did anybody have any others to add to that?
To 1, no.
Okay.
Shoot, I don't remember if you said this or not. Short-term memory loss. There's like more area. There's like in the tails. There's more like area.
Okay. Yeah.
There's like more than like the standard distribution.
Yeah.
I
And
don't remember
then
if you said that or not, but
yeah.
put that one in the pot.
No, I missed that one. And I did get the email with the chart.
Oh, good.
I have the symbols. All right. And then how many degrees of freedom generally does the t-distribution have when it's used for inference for a single mean? And I found it that it's gonna be n minus 1, so the sample size minus 1.
Yep.
Are you on number 2?
Oh.
Are we on the prep assignment?
Yes.
Yes. And then the formula for the sample confidence interval. Did everybody find that, or do we need to go over it? Basically,
I have it written.
substitute t for z, and then it's the sample. Yeah.
Sample for sigma. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, number 4. 2 differences between one sample t-confidence interval and one sample. I got that. One is that we compute the t-score. Sorry, can you say that again, Gina?
I said I put down that the sigma is not known.
Okay.
Because we don't know what the population, I gotta turn this off.
Yeah.
We don't know what the population standard deviation is.
And then we also, I found that we have to find a degree of freedom as well
Right.
for a t-distribution where we didn't have to for the t-score. And you can't use the applet for t-scores.
Right.
So I had a quick question in regards to sigma not being known. So, in just like applying that to, well, I know that this is also, for both of you, this is new stuff as well. But when would we not know sigma? Like,
Well, when I was reading in the chapter for this section, the way I understood it is that when we're studying data for a population, we never know like the true standard deviation for the entire population. So realistically, sigma is never known, if
okay,
that makes sense.
okay.
And it's more accurate for us to use a t-score for the standard deviation of the sample of that population.
So then you're saying in a real life scenario, we're more likely to use
T-score
t-score.
than z-score.
Okay.
Because, yeah. That's the way I understood it from the book, at least. I
Okay.
don't know.
No, that's really helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then did everybody find the formula to compute the sample test statistic?
Yes.
So it's basically the same. So a lot of the formulas are the same as when we were finding z-score, except for like z is substituted for t, and then sigma s is substituted for sigma. So we're talking about the sample statistic instead of the population.
Yep. I have that formula.
Okay. And then 6, what are the assumptions that need to be met to conduct a hypothesis test for single mean when sigma is unknown? X bar has to be normally distributed, and a simple random sample has to be taken from the population.
That's what I have.
Alright, and then for 7, I got the sample mean to be 46.73.
And I have
And
the
then,
sample deviation is 8.83.
yeah.
Maybe. Attention. Oh wait. So the two numbers that I came up with was 41.8. Is it 41.8? Yeah, and 51.6.
For what?
When
Oh, for number 2?
yeah. No, number 7.
For number
Oh, 'cause
7?
I was trying to come up with the sample mean.
Oh, yeah. So the sample means, so when I put it into the Excel spreadsheet, it gave me the sample mean to be 46.73, and then the standard deviation of the sample to be 8.83.
Right.
And that's all for that one.
So we're on number 1. Or number 2?
Yeah, for part 2. So number 1 for part 2. And the requirements for creating a 95% confidence t-interval is that it is a random sample from the population and that X bar is normally distributed. Does anybody have anything different or?
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Okay. And then for number 2 for the interval, I got 41.8 and then 51.6.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I had, yeah, 41.8 and 51.6.
Okay. And with the 99% interval, I got 39.9 and 53.5.
Yeah.
All right. And then number 4 is basically repeating 2 and 3 again. So do you mind skipping that one?
Number 4?
All right. Yeah, so number 4 is basically repeating number 2 and 3 again, because it's just asking us to use Excel to compute the intervals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it asks us to compare for number 5. And so I found that the margin of error is smaller for 95% than 99% confidence levels.
Right. So basically, the bigger the number, the wider it's going to be.
From the way I understand it, yes, because okay, and then let's see, the null and so find the null and alternative hypothesis. For the null hypothesis, I found that mu is equal to 47, and then the null hypothesis, and the alternative is that mu is not equal to 47.
That's right on that. All I have. That was it, right? That's all I have.
For
the prep work?
For A, yeah. Oh no, there's more. There's 2
Oh,
parts
wait.
to it.
Yeah, there's another page. My bad. There's another page. So we're on B then?
Yeah, we're on B. So
B, I came up
calculated my
negative
Oh, go
0.1
for it.
is what I got.
Yep. And then for C, I got my degree of freedom to be 14.
Right.
Mm.
And then we had to sketch the t-distribution and say the area.
Now the only way you can do that is by using the normal probability app.
Which doesn't work for the t-score.
It does. If you shade the outside and you put in the 118, it gives you the shaded part of what the p-value is.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, the normal probability applet doesn't follow the same pattern for the t-score. So t-score is different than your z-score. because it's a different shape and the shape changes
Right.
depending on the t-score. So the applet won't give us an accurate number.
Okay.
So that was the only thing, was I wasn't sure how to sketch it to create the area. So then do we just make our own basically?
When I went over the video for the homework, he explained it by going into the normal app. He says use the normal probability app for that problem.
Okay.
He says that's probably the only time you can use it to do this type of a problem. Otherwise, you can't use it.
Okay. And then for E, I found the p-value to be 0.9077.
I have 0.908.
Oh, you just rounded differently than I did.
Do they want you
Sorry?
Do they want you to round on that part?
It never says. So when I have 4 decimal places, if you round it to 3, it's 0.908. I just never know sometimes, so I do more decimals on the homework. Because usually when we do like the quizzes and stuff, it tells us how many places they want us to round. And then for F, you're going to fail to reject the null hypothesis because the p-value is greater than the level of significance.
Right.
And then basically for G, just write it out in simpler terms.
Yeah, I kind of skipped D.
Did. Any more questions or anything before we start the quiz?
No.
Sounds good.